What the fuck is happening, fam? It is your boy, the Sultan of Sativa, the Ayatollah of Indica, aka Bobby Fischer, BHO, aka Ned Sparks, aka Willie the Cool Penguin, aka President United Bakes of America, Donald Blunt, aka President United Bakes of America, Abraham Lincoln, aka President of the United Bakes of America, John F. Kennedy Jr., aka the Michael Phelps of marijuana, aka the Hickson of hashish, aka the Gordon Ryan of ganj, aka Dwight Durbin, and I'm here with another brand spanking new episode of Let's Talk About It. I'm trying to be professional. I have a new camera apparatus, i.e., a new phone, and I've got a little light. And every time I use the light, it gives me a fucking headache. So I'm gonna eliminate some blue light by blocking the UV light. I don't even know if that works. I can't get over how weird my face looks. I just trimmed my beard up a little bit today. It was a little bushy. I don't realize there's like a whole section over here getting a little distinguished, a little gray, you know? Um, been a lot happening since the new year, since the last episode, Shane Truitt. I know this it's up on YouTube. For some reason didn't upload on my computer, and I believe it has to do with the way I have to format these episodes where I have to splice them together, where there's like multiple parts to it. And it's unfortunate because that is a really great episode. I was so glad to be able to do it with my brother, Shane, to be able to interview him and talk to him about his new book, Fade into Reach, which, if you don't have a copy, get one. Reach out to him at Tradecraft Photo, Tradecraft Photo, Photo, and you can get the book. And the book is great. Have I finished it? No, I have not. I'll be honest, but I have been quite gripped by it lately, and I've been making it a point pretty much, if I don't have the kids at dinner time, I'll sit and read, or even, after I put the kids down and I'm eating my dinner later, because if you're a dad, you just fucking, just shovel in scraps when you can, taking dad taxes here and there to fill the fucking belly. During dinner, they always fucking need something, or we're like just in a rush. Or, goddamn it, I want to take a break and smoke, and instead of eating, I'll go smoke. There's been a lot going on the last couple months. Um, oh, the book with Shane's book. My God, Fading to Reach. It's a novel, heavily inspired by the likes of guys like Cormac McCarthy. If you've never read Cormac, you're a damn fool. No Country for Old Men, The Road, Blood Meridian. I can't think of any other Cormac books off the top of my head, but I've read a few of them. I fucking hate when that shit gets in my teeth. That shit's worse than a fucking broccoli, man. Oh, but Shane's book is great. It's like kind of a post-apocalyptic, like a realistic apocalyptic kind of situation. And I really enjoy it because it's set in two timelines. And I know what you're thinking, oh, multiple timelines. No, not like that. Not like the multiverse, you dumb fuck. You've been watching too much damn Rogan. Um, hmm. And not enough of the number one can of fucking podcast. Damn, I'm gonna have to record an ad for this because I have a new sponsor. It was one that I had previously tried to work with. We got so far in the process. Magic Mind. It is an enhancing little energy shot. Nootropics. Turmeric. Fucking turmeric, man. I can't help but enjoy the high quality in which this episode is being recorded on my new phone. I've been dealing with an iPhone 11 for so long, and now we're here. I do need to get some sort of upgraded video for when I use the computer, but I'm not using the computer today. I'm using the phone home. But the post-apocalyptic book, two timelines. One, the dude's just getting out of jail. The other is set fucking 15 years later or something. when he's traveling back home in Ocean City. And as a guy who lived on the shore and spent a lot of time there growing up, it's a really cool read. If you're a Marylander or somebody from the surrounding area that's been there and knows kind of the happenings, you'll know exactly what Shane's getting into and he's talking about when he's really getting after it in this book. It's very well written, super cool. DIY 100%, and get you a first edition, man. Get you a fucking first edition. The artwork is dope, like really fucking dope. And it's cool how kind of the timelines interlap. But new year, same me, having some of the same struggles. I've been feeling very unmotivated to do something like a 75 hard, which me from 2 years ago would say, oh, that's exactly what you need to do. Fucking 75 hard. And I do. I fucking do. And maybe it's an excuse, maybe not. But part of the reason, is when I do 75, I do that. I feel that way. And then I do 75 hard. And then, like, I kind of, that takes all of my focus. That takes all the focus, man. Um, because it's fucking hard. And I got the kids. It's a lot. Doable. Definitely doable. I've done it multiple times. Um, it's rough. I'm gonna fucking do it though. I just don't know when. Should start today. Probably won't. It's a little late to start today, although I am getting a second workout in. I have read 10 pages. Um, I got, I'm trying to think what else has happened. I don't really feel like talking about 75 hard. We've done it so many times. And right now I'm not active in it. It's not as important. I have been running around a lot, really feeling it, man. Fucking feeling it. It's been quite interesting, trying to figure shit out, where I'm at, what I'm doing, what's going on. I can feel just so much shit is about to break through. I just need a little bit right now. Um, and it's great. It's great. Things are great. The kids are doing wonderful. We just had a jiu-jitsu tournament yesterday, same one we always do in February. It's an in-house tournament. Some people from other gyms show up and it's great. It's a great time. All three of my kids competed. I competed as well. Came in over a few pounds, so I was only able to compete in the absolute division. I felt bad because one of the guys really wanted to compete against me, and he did not do the absolute division for some reason, which I don't normally either, but it was like not like an all purple belt, all age. It was still age and belt rank. So I just fucking jumped in there, man. Why the fuck not? Only had one match though. One. I'll post it up. It's not the most exciting of matches, but in a points tournament, it's important to understand when you have the opportunity, you got points, you're up, right? Is it worth the risk to chase the submission? I mean, I'm going for the submission for sure, but you know, there was a point where I almost went for one, but I just felt like I wasn't willing to give up the position I was in. And honestly, looking back at it, I should have gone for mounted triangle. I was in like a good S mount in a position to do it, but I started like kind of backing up in a different way, and he got his arm a little lower, so I had to readjust and kind of get back to a different position. But time ran out, and it was great. It was cool, man. It was really a good match. And it's not like really something that I'm like, yes, yes. It's not one of those moments, but there was definitely some things, and it's the whole competition environment is just like it's a lot, guys I train with day in and day out, they're all competing. There's an element of just excitement from yelling and screaming at them and telling them what to do and coaching them from the sideline, and I was coaching kids all day. All three of my kids competed, plus a bunch of kids that I now coach, right? I'm a coach for the kids class, and I love it, right? Yesterday was really the first time that I got to go to a competition with those kids, and I feel like I'm gonna have to go a little more regularly so I can. get some more coaching for them. Maybe I can parlay the gym into paying some entry fees for me and the kids. Uh, in exchange for going and doing some extra shit. Maybe I just do it. Values created by the inefficiencies. Give some kids a little extra time and, maybe get their parents to get some private lessons from old Elliot. So who knows? We'll see. But, it really, it's a lot of ups and downs, right? Shit was all spaced out. River, my middle daughter, she went first. She went 1 and 2 on the day, lost her first one. It was like kind of a warm up, but she really did not have a great first match. Second match, she came out like a bull, was aggressive, got after it, man. I mean, just like way she's driving her hips in. It was like kind of inspiring. It's so cool watching my kid go out there and do some jujitsu and like really look like she was doing the damn thing. Like she knew what the fuck was up. She knew what she was doing. And her third match was tough. But the person, the other kid got the best of her. And it's tough, right? They got to find the balance of like winning and losing and the ups and downs of like, oh, you lost a match, you're fighting from behind, or it's like, um, it's tough. It was hard for her to get some points, I think, in the end. And my oldest Charlie, she's on the younger end of the division. There's a lot of kids that were a little bit heavier than her, maybe a little more experienced than her, and got the best of her. I mean, really, her first match, she kind of was lazy and getting her grips and wasn't aggressive, and the girl just freaking did a judo like throw and landed right on her. And I mean, I give my baby girl all the credit in the world. She fucking really tried to fight through it, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to come back after that. And you know, she lost her second match and came off the mat crying. And, it's like, I fucking get a little choked up, man. It's like my kid is out there fucking showing some real heart and just going through the pains, right? You got to remember, too, the last 2 years, she's came with a medal. She got bronze last year. She got silver her first competition. And, this year she didn't get one. And she's like, I'm not getting a medal and was crying. And, it's like, it's hard to see that as a dad and, feel like a part of it's my fault, even for maybe not training them as much as I should or giving them as much time and effort. And I mean, don't get it twisted. Now we got some things to work on, you know. But they're great, man. My son, he competed. He only had one person in his division. It was a girl. They were like the same age. I think she's a couple pounds lighter than him. And hey, he got gold. He beat her out of three, 2-0. And all the credit in the world to that girl. She was tough, right? But Sully, he was actually listening to my coaching, right? He could hear me. He was listening, right? And if he started slipping a little too far, he reeled it back in. I mean, that's being a champion, man. You got to win the matches that you're supposed to win, and then the ones that you might be quote unquote supposed to lose, you got to find a way to pull through, and make it happen. It ain't over till it's over in jiu-jitsu, baby. None of my kids watched me compete. They don't give a fuck. I mean, they see me every day training, whatever, right? They know, right? My baby girl was so happy when she got to wear my gold medal, but they didn't care. They didn't fucking care. Some of the other kids who I coach that came, there were a bunch of them that came over and watched me and were yelling and cheering for me, and they fucking cared more than my kids did. Damn. The uh a couple of the other parents of, that I coached their kids came over and watched. That kind of shit's special a little bit. It's like I felt really good just, in my role, like I said. I was fortunate that I didn't have to do a ton of stand up. Guy kind of tried to pull half guard and I was able to crowd in and, start my passing sequences and kept control and took my time and was patient. But shout out to Joe, the guy I competed against, tough dude, another purple belt that discovered his love for jiu-jitsu and started training 6 days a week, like getting after it. He's a 6 a.m. guy too. Those motherfuckers are wild. But it was good, and I felt pretty chill, considering, right? Like I said, I got a lot of my jitters out throughout the day, emotions out. I'll tell you what, actually, uh, my daughter, Charlie, I was trying to get them out the fucking door, running late, not running late, but like later than I would like to be. And it's always such a thing to get three small kids out the door. And my daughter knocked over my full cup of coffee, spilled it fucking everywhere, and I didn't have time to clean that shit up more than like kind of half-ass how I did. And I'm like, mother fuck, I was mad, and I told him immediately, I'm like, just get outside, get in the car, get in the car. But they could hear me yelling and fucking screaming. And I got in the car. I'm like, none of that had to do with you. I don't care about the coffee. I don't care about the fucking electronic that broke. It's just things. It's just things. I care about my baby. It's all good, baby. No use crying over spilled coffee. But like, sometimes, man, that shit manifests, and I can't, that shit manifests itself in some weird ways, and I think it was a little bit of the competition, just the stress, trying to get the kids out, and I mean, just all of it. Not any eating. I don't even know how I weighed over. I didn't even fucking eat anything. That shit was crazy. Maybe my gi was just a little heavy. Who knows? But it was an excuse. I could have been a little lighter. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling strong. I should have come in lighter. That's the division I signed up for. I should, or fucking sign up for a heavier division. But it's great. Like I said, having teammates cheer for you. It's like you're out there all alone, and you got to give anybody credit because it's just such an individual thing. And like for me, I'm not the most serious competitor. I'm fucking 36, Masters 2, but like I train all the time, and I want my kids to see what it's like. I want the other kids that I teach. Like now I have to think about the kids that I teach, not just my own kids, right? They're going out there to compete. I want to show them, like, hey, we're in this together, man. We're a team. You out there competing, feeling the emotion. I mean, there was a kid, uh, his name's Mateo. He's a young kid. He's probably, I don't know, I think he's like 9 or 10. And he's tough, man. And in the gym, he does all sorts of funny stuff. Sometimes, man, he'll embarrass these kids. But he got beat. He got beat by some other kids, and including a girl. And he was feeling it, man, and he had some tears. I think he thought he was going to go out there and just crush it. And his dad trains too, and his dad trains hard. I got much respect. I got so much respect for every one of these parents to go out there and train and their kids train. That's what we do. That's what the fuck we do. It sucks. Like competing is hard. Even there's just no way to avoid, I think, some of the feelings, the ups and downs, like that fight or flight, the shallow breathing. If I got to give people one piece of advice, it's to fucking breathe. I yelled that so many times, and it really is a pleasure too to be able to like coach some of the homies, uh, and just like see things they're not seeing. And I think about I was not at a level where I was able to do that for a long time, and now I see it a little bit better and know what they need to do and can tell them in a way where they can hear it, remind them they're doing a good job, relax, right? It's just like some comforting shit from one of their homies who they train with all the time, a familiar friend and voice, and it really helped. I watched this kid, and it's so funny the way it worked out, man, too. This kid, and what he did in a role, and how he finished his last match, and his dad doing it actually in almost the same exact fashion. This kid, and they're actually, they're some guys I spent. He's one of the guys that his dad. One of the guys I spend some time with outside of the mats. He has graciously invited me to his house. Has been teaching me how to bow hunt. Has been teaching me, fucking taking me under his wing and sharing his knowledge, experience, and wisdom. Caught a fucking big ass elk out in Colorado this year. Still waiting on my elk taco from this. years, my elk steak from this year's hunt. But he's a tough fucking guy. And his son was having a hard match and like was having a hard time getting out of this kid's close guard and was down points. It's like was down. It was 7-9. The other kid was like really just trying to not stall per se, but like if you're up on points, man, make them do the work. And so like, I'm like, Jack, you're down. 30 seconds left. You're down. They end up standing back up, trying to get a takedown. I'm like, drop to change levels, get his legs, and he does. And he like takes him. It's like half takedown. The other kid half stops it. They roll, and Jackson gets on top, and literally with like 2 seconds left, gets his 4 points for mount. I don't think he got takedown points actually because they like it was weird, and he didn't come on top right away, and so they couldn't give him the takedown the way they rolled, and he ended up in mount and got 4 points won the match in the last second, face so red, just like, yeah, like came over, was like, I couldn't, can't breathe, and it's just like he really dug deep in that moment and did what he had to do. And then I boogied down to the far mat where his dad was competing a few minutes later and was having a tough match where the guy had him in close guard and was stalling, and there really was no clear winner, in my opinion. And the way they had been doing it was like a 1 minute overtime. First person to score, that's it. Um, and it ended up being like longer than a minute too. So you just had a 5 minute roll, or maybe they had a 6 minute roll, I'm not sure. And then went to overtime, and they both just kept with the grips and, having grips and like just like doing this little grip back and forth, pushing, pulling, but no like actual hip movement or Kazushi off balancing being created. And I'm like, Taylor, fuck those grips, break his grips and shoot, get his legs, blah, blah. Man, I'll tell you. And then, like, it was already after the minute, but there was still no clear winner. And my man Taylor went, shot, got the man taken down. They kind of rolled, and Taylor came on top and got his 2 points. And immediately that was it, match over. And this guy was red faced, just like his son. He fought through it in front of his son and wife, and it was just such a beautiful situation, being able to be there and watch that, and really be inspired by the guys that I train with, man. And think, hey, that motherfucker is that tough and was able to make it through that whole round, do all that shit, because I annoy him all the time doing the exact same. This guy was playing the exact same game that I play, just not as good. Oh, purple belt pimping, maybe. Yeah, there were some blue belts, man. It is what it is. But um, they could try to have the sauce, but they don't season it like you. You know what I'm saying? I did see a couple people not continue their matches due to injury, but then um, not quite sure they were injured. And I get it. Competition's hard, man. And I'll never forget my first one as a white belt. And my no gi match, I was like doing the damn thing, and literally in the I like not I've panic tap in like the last 10 seconds on this fucking triangle that wasn't all the way locked in, and I just remember feeling like such a fucking chump. I had such an adrenaline dump. That shit was hard, man. Competing is hard, especially fucking as a white belt, blue belt. I mean, like I said, at purple belt, I've had some tough ones, but uh, this one wasn't so bad. Could have been worse. I think a part of it's my skill sets. I'm a little bit more comfortable with where I'm at. And also, I'm not rolling against a guy in this competition that's 15, 20 pounds heavier than me, like I did the last 2 years. So, um, you know, it was all in all, it was a great day. My son and I took home some hardware. My daughter's learned some lessons. Said I want a medal, and at the end of the day, right? It's like, hey, cool. If you want a medal, we got to put in some more work. And it is my duty as their father to make sure that we do that and are able to do that. So, that is what it is. And now we're going to have to put in some extra work, right? Put in some extra time because I don't want them feeling like that's all they got, you know? Let me see what else been going on. A little while back, a month ago now almost, my friggin' Uncle Bill died. Rest in peace to Uncle Bill, man. I haven't really, I mean, I've talked about it with my fam and, went to the funeral, and that was a hard one. I feel so emotional sometimes at these fucking funerals. And Uncle Bill, he's not like the last couple that I've gone to. Like, it's one thing going to, a junkie's funeral. You expect it every day that they're alive, that they're running around living that life. It's easy to, when you get that call, say, well, that's what fucking happens when you're out shooting fentanyl. That's what fucking happens when you're out fucking robbing people and smoking crack and doing crazy shit, which I'm going to double back to that after Uncle Bill. So don't let me forget junkie bullshit. But I want to give Uncle Bill some proper due respect, to one of the best men that I've ever known. He was married to my Aunt Kath. I heard about Uncle Bill's lore. Uh, I mean, Uncle Bill's always been like a chill dude. To me, he's always just kind of been like a go with the flow. Hey, just over the years, I've learned about him in some different ways and really changed my perspective. um, father of two, and both my cousins, Katie and Lauren, they're great women, such kind, caring, beautiful, empathetic women, loving. It's like I can't remember Uncle Bill ever yelling at them. And I spent a fair amount of time around. We used to stay over there all the time. I loved it. It's great. My cousin Lauren, I played Diddy Kong Racing all night on N64. My cousin Laura, hang out with my cousin and some of her neighborhood friends. She would show me some cool music she was listening to. She's 3 years older than me. Katie was like 5 or 6 years older than me. So like I was definitely a little closer with Lauren growing up. Over the years, Katie and I have I think bonded a little bit more. And I have love for both of them. Uncle Bill, they loved and adored him. Like I said, I don't think he ever yelled at them. Was just so gentle with them, and I really tried to draw as much inspiration as I could as a father to girls, um, and still do, and will for probably as long as I'm alive, because you can always take a page out of Uncle Bill's book when it comes to being a dad, a good man in a relationship. He was married, and he was with my Aunt Kathy for over 50 years. 50 years since she was like 19. I mean, to me, that's unfathomable. I think about the amount of times you've had to forgive somebody over the course of 50 years. How much empathy and kindness and grace do you have to like give to someone over the course of 50 years? How much forgiveness you have to practice? I mean, this shit is it's wild to think about. And Aunt Kathy, I'll put her business out there a little bit. She wouldn't mind, I don't think. And if she did, she doesn't listen to my show. I think my cousin Kevin does. He might say something, but probably not. I found out randomly, never knew this, and then when I was like getting clean, my mom was telling me that like my Aunt Kathy had hepatitis C. I'm like, and I knew, so some addiction. The needle. It's not far from the tree in my family. My uncle Spider, who I was compared to many times by my uncle and by both of his brothers, my father and my uncle Mike, and my Aunt Kathy apparently was running with the wrong crowd, and somehow Uncle Bill freaking saved her. It's like, nah, you're with me now, and he took her, man, and he loved her up, and he's been around forever in my family. He's a fucking staple, man. And every I went to his funeral and man, first of all, so like, I'm like, my kid's mom wanted to come to the funeral. And I'm like, I had a feeling of like, it's like, yo, I get you've been around, you're part of the family, and that you are the mother to my children, no doubt. So you want to express sympathies to my Uncle Bill or to my Aunt Kathy, and give your condolences. You know, I'm sure my Aunt Kathy would appreciate that. I'm sure my cousins would appreciate that. I do appreciate that somewhat. But I was definitely, she was like, at first started, hey, do you mind if I bring Sully? And I wasn't planning on having the kids there. Uh, not that I'm like ashamed or anything, but I just didn't feel it's appropriate. They're young still. And I mean, they are fucking hilarious the way that the questions they've asked about it. But anyway, I can dive into that in a second. And so I'm like, you know what? Whatever. Um, but I was definitely having a feeling of like my man from Fight Club and Marla Singer and being like, you fucking faker. Like I can't cry. I'm going through, I'm going to fucking work out my grieving process for my Uncle Bill, for my Aunt Kath and my cousins who lost their father, which is unfathomable to me, man. My parents are in their 60s, right? You just never know. Uncle Bill wasn't that old, and the way he passed away was kind of fucked up. Um, and so I try to be grateful, mindful of that and grateful. And man, I walked in, I was sitting in my car blowing it down. First of all, Audra ended up not being able, she was going to leave Sully with her mom, whatever. Sully ends up getting sick the night before. She's like, well, I could still leave him with my mom. It's fine. Then literally 2 hours later, River's throwing up. Another 2 hours after that, Charlie's throwing up. All three of them are sick. So needless to say, they were all off school. She couldn't fucking come down. And I'm sitting in my car blowing it down, trying to figure it out. And god damn it, if I'm sitting there and fucking who gets out of their car? But none other but goddamn Sarah Fox, my ex-girlfriend from fucking 13 years ago. I don't know. We were probably officially done when I was like 26 or something, 25. I don't know. I don't remember. All those years are a blur. It was just a painful array of bullshit. And she's fucking there. I had no clue. Like, first of all, thank God Audra wasn't there because I just would not have wanted to deal with that shit. Sarah wouldn't have given a fuck because she doesn't. And she's like still friends with my sister, but it's like, you're not tight with my Uncle Bill. What the fuck, man? Here for the. She was really on her Marla Singer shit. And she had like black hair too. It was kind of weird. Not black, it was dark. But that was the first time I'd seen her in person in like fucking 10 years, some shit. Um, and she, I was like just fucking kind of blown away. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I asked my sister. She's like, yeah, she said she wanted to fucking support me or whatever. Drove up 3.5 hours to fucking get there. All the way 2.5, 3 hours to get there. It's like, damn, man. So I just fucking ignored her dumbass, didn't even like, I just fucking ignored her, pretended she wasn't even there. I'm not giving any of these bitches any attention. It just seemed weird to me. I'm not trusting of most people, and I just don't know what the motives are. I don't. But at the end of the day, what does it fucking matter? What does it matter? Doesn't matter at all. Who fucking cares? So I'm fucking. I walk in and goddamn everybody's sad and everybody's crying. They're showing these goddamn photos of Uncle Bill on a projector on the wall. And just like when I walked in at my buddy Drew's funeral, which you can go back and listen to my experience there, same shit. I just started fucking looking at those pictures and bawling like a baby, man. So much life lived, and my sister was right there, so she came and hugged me, got to cry on her shoulder. So kind of her, my baby bear sister, Hannah. Um, and I did feel a lot of love, and I got to see a lot of people I hadn't seen in a long time. Went to a little after function, got to see, Yeah, I see a guy from high school I haven't seen in a long fucking time. Um, totally crazy. He's got a crazy beard, which was hilarious. Went back to my house, mom's house, hung out for a bit, got to spend a little more time with my family, and just really get to kind of feel together. And you know what I did? I said, "Hey man, I got to get back on up to PA." And on my way, I stopped at the old Conquest BJJ. Went to my man Matt Schellenschlager, the Hebrew Hammers class, and I went and got some motherfucking work in. You know, I spent time with my family at home. Really going through it with my about my Uncle Bill. You know, one of my coping mechanisms for shit is to go work it out on the mat, man. Clear my head. Right? That shit works no matter what the circumstance. I'll tell you what, I got beat up a little bit, uh, and it was phenomenal. It was exactly what I needed. I drove home feeling so much better and just like physically able to get energy out that, you know, I got energy out all day, crying, had many ups and downs, and then got it out on the mats, man, with my family, the people who I love and care about, that I've spent many hours training with, and growing through it with in other ways. And when I have other problems, showing up and being able to spend time on the mats after, and you know just having that camaraderie has been so important. Helps the brain. And then I've got had a whole lot of a whole lot of funnies when it came to talking to my kids about it. They all kind of had different reactions when I told them about my Uncle Bill. Um, Sully was like, "So the worm, he's just in the ground and the worms are eating him?" We Charlie was very introspective about it and empathetic about it. She said, "That's Everett's grandpa." Everett's my cousin Lauren's daughter or son. I mean, excuse me, son. And I was like, "Yeah, that's Everett's grandpa." And she was like, "Man, I bet he's really sad." And I could tell she just thought about it from that perspective of, if that was my pops, my dad, I'd be really sad too, you know? And there was like at my buddy's house. What the fuck were we talking about? Uh Something, and something being dead, like an animal or something. And like the comedic timing of River was fucking uncanny. She was, I was like, "Oh, blah blah blah, yeah, no, it's dead." you know or I was like, maybe it was like, if you fall in the fire, you'll freaking die, get burned up and die. And she was like Uncle Bill, like, fuck. And everybody laughed, everybody being me and my kids. It's like, hey, laughter is the best medicine, man. Uncle Bill's dead. What are we gonna fucking do? Be upset that we're talking about it or joking about it too soon? She's a fucking kid. What does she know better? That shit fucking cracked me up, honestly. It just takes away a little bit of the pain. Have a laugh, right? And just remember that, it's not that serious, man. You're here, you do everything that you can, and then you fucking die. And hopefully the people around you remember your legacy, and they take the energy that you gave them and they put that out into the world as a piece of who they are. You know, that's kind of how I like to think about it. And I like to try and look at my friends and family and the people that I've learned from that aren't here, and what I've learned from them, and I apply it to my life. Because that's what they would want. And that's they spent some of their time here. Their spirit was connected with mine here on this plane, and they were a part of my journey for some reason. And whoever it is. So I'd like to hope that I've impacted enough people to where they can do some good with what I've helped them with. And I know that I have. in a lot of cases. Like it's a ridiculous amount of cases. And I don't say that to be egotistical because it's not about the ego, right? Like honestly, I don't even feel like I've done anywhere near enough. There's so much more that I could do on such a bigger scale. I haven't even scratched the fucking surface, and I actually kind of feel like a piece of shit sometimes for that. You know, that I've only helped this many people to this extent. I want to do better, be better, help others do better, be better, show them, and that involves doing it myself. Hey, I showed up to class today after yesterday. I was in a competition. Now, granted, I only had one match, like I said earlier, but you know, it's symbolic to show up day after. Right? I was there all day. It would have been easy. I let my kids have the day off. I could have taken a day off. There's a lot of people that competed yesterday. Them and their kids took the day off. And hey, totally cool. Totally understandable. It's a long day. Kids are tired, right? They fucking give them the day off, right? That shit is hard. It's taxing. Give them a day off. Let them reflect. Let them have some fun. Do some other shit. You know, if you're the adult, right? If you can get out, get in there, get better, right? Because you could still say, "Hey, Dad went and trained. I wanted you guys to have the day off, but Dad, he's bigger, he's stronger, he can handle it. Dad went and trained. That's what we do." But Dad took the day off. I don't blame anybody for that. Because it is really fucking, especially if you compete, it is fucking, it's hard, man. So, um, but for me, I teach the kids class, right? I consider myself a leader in the gym, and others would tell you that I am. And again, not ego, just a fact, right? And that's something that I've been trying to take more seriously lately because it's easy as a purple belt for people not to have super high expectations of you. It's like definitely more than a blue belt as far as like your capabilities and your ability to learn or whatever. But like people know you're probably gonna be late to the warm up and not give a fuck about that, right? Like if you're helping a white belt, you're not gonna tell them a lot. I don't know. You just don't. I don't know why, but you don't explain anything when you're a purple belt. Oh my God. And I know somebody from the gym's gonna listen to this. I don't care. But I don't fucking go telling Dave or Greg. Don't. Just don't. I fucking, you know, I got in a couple minutes late. There was actually a white belt. He came in late too. So I ended up being paired up with him. He's like a mostly new white belt. I think he does MMA. So he talks about that a lot. He's a tall, skinny guy, younger guy, probably 20, no more than 22. Max. Can't be. Had like a little man bun. I was wearing the grappling socks, which like bro, what's wrong with your feet? You need the grappling socks? What's wrong with your feet, man? I mean, I don't have nice feet by any any means. But like I'm not wearing the grappling socks. It's almost like wearing headgear. I mean, at least headgear, it's like, I don't want cauliflower ear. If you have headgear on, I'm doing everything I can to get out. Like I'm cross facing you so hard. I'm doing anything and everything I can to make that fucking shit uncomfortable to where you're like, fuck this. I'm taking this a gay headgear off. Right? We're not wrestling. Okay, we're in gi jujitsu. Well, they do it in no gi. Usually the headgear guy, if he's doing it in gi, he's doing it in no gi too. I won't bash him, At least no gi, it's like kind of like wrestling, more so anyway. So like you say, oh, it's wrestling. Okay, but like in the gi, like if somebody's fucking mashing your ear, just fucking tap. Fucking tap. I haven't tapped. I don't tap because I'm not. I don't care. There's some specific times though that I got cauliflower ear that I definitely should have just tapped, but my ego would not allow me to tap. Um, Most people, like if you're like a black belt and you tap me all the time, I'm not keeping track. Okay, what the fuck? But like if you're somebody on my skill set slightly above, below, anything below my skill set, anything slightly above, right? I mean, there's levels, right? But I'm keeping track. All right, so there's times where I should have tapped. But like the only thing that was like a thing was just that my ear was in a fucked up position and I knew it was going to cauliflower. And I tried to do what I need to do, but after so many times it got fucking hard and I didn't do it in time. And it just is what it is now. But I should have at the time definitely tapped, but my ego would not allow me. So it's easy for me to tell you you should tap, but especially if you don't want cauliflower ear, then just tap. Anyway, so my guy I totally went off on a tangent there, but my guy, I forget his name. I do remember it, but for his sake in this story, I will not say it. But it was like we had a virginity losing experience today, you know? And I I felt like I felt like a man. We were like doing we were drilling the move. He was talking about shit, he's got a little wrestling background. He's like, "Oh, I got a fucking wrestling background. Uh I like front headlock." I was like, "Oh, I'll show you a little fucking move." So I like show him this move from front headlock. I'm like, you wrench the arm in, so it's all the way across so you can shoot your figure four of your arms there, roll under, and hook the leg. I'm showing this anaconda choke, and he didn't tap. It's like I adjusted. I was like, oh, maybe I fucked this up, and then I felt a tap, or what I thought was a tap, and so I let him go, and he's just like laying there on the mat, and he responded, and his body fucking spasmed, and I'm like, oh no, and I was like, yo, yo. And he spasmed again. And right as I was about to like grab his leg, I'm like, I put my white belt to sleep. Holy shit. First of all, I've never actually put anybody to sleep. They all tap, you know? And like, dang, he didn't tap. He didn't fucking tap. And so I'm like, oh, bro. I'm like, he like pops up. Like right as I'm about to shake his legs, he pops up. And he's like kind of looking around a little spacey. I was like, yo, are you okay? I was like, are you good? He was like, yeah. I was like, did you like feel the choke or he was like, huh? He's like, what happened? And I was like, are you good? I was like, move your arm, wave your arms. He waved his arms, like, can you stand up? I like stood up. I'm like, can you stand up? He stood up. I was like, can you do a little jumping jack, get a little blood flowing? He like showed me a jumping jack. I was like, what's your name? He told me his name. I said, okay. I was like, are you good? He's like, what happened? I was like, I think you went to sleep. He's like, no, I think I stretched too hard. I almost lost it. I almost fucking lost. He said that. He said, I think I stretched too hard. And he just had the most perplexed look on his face. What happened? I didn't sleep. I think I just stretched too hard. I don't even know what that means. I've never heard anybody say that. It was mind-boggling to me. But I put him to sleep. He didn't remember it. He didn't know. I didn't even want to like give him like a flashback by trying to show it to him again because I just put this fool to sleep. He went to sleep. I put my fucking white belt to sleep. I had a white belt in my care, and I put him to sleep. And it was a fucking accident. I felt so bad, but it was so funny. Like, so fun. I mean, he just sits there in all this white beltery. And then it was time to roll, and I just fucking kind of ragdolled him around a little bit. He was like, it seems like you're rolling with me like you don't even care. And I was like, yeah. I was like, no, no, it's good. I care. He's like, it's not even tough for you. I was like, No, you'll get there though. You'll have a time when keep coming, bud. And there'll come a time where it's not tough for you. He was like, how did I just fall into that back take? I said, I don't know. You just did. It just happens. You just learn. You just feel where people are going. And you go the other way. Or, you let them go that way, but you adjust yourself so that them going that way is advantageous to you. Simple. I'll tell you what. Putting my white belt to sleep made me feel so bad. Yeah, but we rolled. I had a couple other tough rolls with black belt Andy. He's a tough motherfucker, man. I was throwing a lot of shit at him. I mean, look, so I had him in an arm bar that like I probably could have hipped into or really like fought to like really get. We're in the training room, man. He's going hard, and he was fucking trying to escape. So I kept him rolling. We had a great roll. He's fucking tough as nails. When he came back, he had been on a long hiatus, and he's got his wits about him again as a black belt, and it's a good roll, man. The Aurelio Leandro, my Brazilian brother, uh, the Brazilian bull, man. He don't fuck around. Who else did I roll with? I think I rolled with a white belt that was had a little bit more going for him, but I needed kind of a rest. And then after class shut down, I started fucking around with my little blue belt buddy Chris. Chris is easily the most annoying guy in the gym, and I actually had to do some work to get him. I was tired, and so I had to like use kind of a face crush rear naked because he just you know wasn't letting me get under the chin, and I wasn't gonna keep fighting to try to switch to a choke. I was committed, and I said I'm done with this, and so I just was squeezing until he tapped, and he tapped, and thank God he did because I was getting tired, and Greg, the owner of the gym, came up to me just after Chris had left and everybody else was leaving. He was like, "Chris is one of those guys, man. You feel like you should be able to finish him easier than you do." I was like, "You're fucking right, Greg." And it just was funny to me because Chris really is fucking annoying, but he's a great guy to train with because most people don't don't do what he does, and he's just really annoying about it. And even like yesterday, and in my competition role, I had a really cool moment when I was trying to get smash this guy. He had a grip on my arm where if he was able to maneuver it properly, I would have had to give up a sweep, even though I was in a top position and kind of an Americana. And so the way that I just like worked around and like re so I do for my jiu-jitsu guys, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, sorry. But like normally what I'll do is if I'm in like a top half guard or something, or maybe I've even passed and somebody has that Kimura grip, I'll Kimura my own, I'll Kimura them too as like almost a 50-50 position, shuffle around and sit back on an armbar, right? Uh Essentially kind of what they're trying to do, but just from the top position. Kimura's 50-50. So I just kind of applied that principle to this Americana, and I do that Americana to people, and it's not one that you can usually get them to tap to, but it will put enough pressure to make them have to react and possibly give up a sweep. And he could have potentially come up to a close guard, but he tried to do it, and I gripped. I did something as soon as he was trying to do it, to where I just like and just like limp arm slid it, and to where he was like, "Nice, bro. That was nice." While I'm like smashing him, and when I mean, for me personally, I do the same thing. If somebody does some slick shit and I go to like catch their leg and it's completely not there, and I thought it would be, it's like, nice, you got me. Somebody does a little move that's like a real, oh, that's jujitsu. It's like, nice. But this guy doing that while we were rolling in the competitive match, it was cool. It was a fun experience. Because even though it was a competition, like I said, it's in house. I don't want to hurt. We're all old guys. I don't want to hurt anybody. Maybe that will be detrimental to me, but like I still want to try to. I mean, I want to be the best opponent to whoever I'm up against whenever I step out on a competition mat. That's what I care about. And if that means I'm the better fucking guy, that is what it is. You know. If not, I'm gonna go give him all. You know. To circle back, because we definitely went a lot of routes there. And I kind of was talking about junkie bullshit. My fucking homie, a guy that actually I used to get high with many years ago, who I've been in touch with throughout the years continually, and he's used something uh the majority of the time that I've known him. Right? He might have told me he was clean, but I know that he probably wasn't. Not completely anyway, and would justify that whatever. But he's almost 40, still using. His girl. Uh, I would say she's an addict. Totally my own judgment, right? And she'll tell you, like, she definitely has self control. Like, she's not an addict. Like, my homie's an addict. I mean, where do you differentiate the line? You know, she's at least honest about where she's at and what she's doing and how things are for her and how she does shit, right? And she has some semblance of, like, you know, keeping her shit together and making sure that they both have a place to stay and fucking roof over their head and shit, and the bills get paid every month. And my homie just, she hit me up saying she couldn't find him. She was going to call 911. Then, I didn't hear anything. And so I hit her up. And today, I call, and I don't know if she was coming out of like a Xanax coma, but like I couldn't even understand half the shit she was saying. And then, it was right before I was going to train. So I went to train. And when I got out, I tried calling her back. She was in a much better state, filled me in. She was like, "Oh yeah, the homie's in jail, from a warrant and this." Was telling me some shit. They took him in. They got called because he was doing some domestic shit because he was fucked up on Xanax. And I don't know him to be the type that does that. But he's lost his son over his kids, like, doesn't talk to his mom. His sister just died of an overdose, and he's all fucked up about that. But instead of getting any actual help, he's just fucking using. Now he's in jail, and he's probably just blaming his girlfriend for calling the cops instead of saying, if I didn't do this, I wouldn't have had the cops called on me. If I didn't do this, I wouldn't have had a warrant. If I didn't do this, I wouldn't have fucking had this problem that ended me. I mean, there could have been 10 other things that he could have done to handle his shit and take responsibility that would have stopped him, that would have never even put him in a position to where he would have ended up in fucking jail in the first place. And like, just listen to her talk about the situation. And she knows me as a trustworthy individual and somebody that's like not like Steven in that, not like him in that way. I just fucking put his name out there. He don't listen to this shit. I don't fucking care. And honestly, I'm being honest as his friend. He's a piece of shit, and is so much of a piece of shit that he can't even admit it, and is really treating others around him like a piece of shit. Is not a good father, is like, but there's a piece of me, and I don't want to say that feels bad because it's not about feeling bad. I don't feel bad. The motherfucker's almost 40. Like, anything that happens to him is a result of his actions. It's one of those ones that when you get the call, you'll know. Anytime she hits me up, I know what it is, right? He's fucked up somewhere, maybe in jail. She doesn't know. Maybe he's on the streets. Maybe he's dead. Maybe he's somewhere. Can I go look for him? Unmanageable chaos. That's not my life and hasn't been. And I'm not going to love somebody to death, right? I will do a lot and go above and beyond for people. And I care to do that. Like, I care enough to do that because there is a piece of me that is this bleeding heart fucking individual that believes and care, it believes in the redemption arc, man, that believes in change, in real change, right? And that I am somebody that has made real change, and I'm not perfect by fucking any means. So, so, so not perfect, so flawed. If and I've shared honestly about a lot of fucking my shortcomings and the situations that I've put myself in that I've had to accept responsibility for and that are a contributing factor to uh, the result of me being where I am right now, which is not where I should be, in my opinion, right? Obviously, I have full faith in God's plan and that ultimate, like, I believe that I could have done things differently and I didn't, but I do believe that, like, I'm on the path. I'm on the path. Because if I'm not, what am I going to do? Be like, oh, there's no hope. Then I'd end up being fucking a junkie again. I have hope, you know? My kids inspire me. The people I train with inspire me. My family inspires me. My friends, people who I fucking don't even know that I'm friends with on fucking Instagram inspire me, you know? People that I've never met in person, inspire me to do better, be better, keep trying. And I do. And like I said, I fall short all the time, every day, but like I believe in these things and I believe that it can be done and that, God's got my fucking back. It's what it is. I am very blessed. And I know that for me it's about being tested. It's about going through this shit, growing through this shit, creating hardship in my own life so that I can the other hardships of life come easy. But my man, I was highly disappointed. I learned some things about him and heard some shit about him today from his girl that just were very disappointing, you know? And like, other than this is a guy that I used to use with and, have spent a lot of time to try to help get clean. And I know that I'm one of the few voices that can even sometimes get through in whatever way. Uh, and so, like, I know where the boundaries are, right? Like, he gets out of jail, she leaves his ass, and he got nowhere to go. He ain't coming to my house. My kids come here. He ain't somebody I'm having around my kids, and that's fine. Um, I will do what I can, but that is limited. Especially at this point when there's like, hey man, I'm not the fucking guy. Like I can't do it for you. You can use me as an example, and I've shown you time and time again that I can be an example and that I will do anything to help you, but you have the prerequisite for that is that you are actually clean, Sorry, I spaced out for a second, just kind of thinking about it, and um, and it's hard. It's hard to see, man, because from where I sit, it looks to me like he's pushing people away from him so that he could be like, oh, fucking poor me. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares about me. Man. Like, and fucking use until it kills him or fucking take a bunch of Xanax and get behind the wheel of a car, you know, because he's too pussy to kill himself. So, he'd rather put others' lives at risk. Not that like I'm suggesting that he should kill himself, because I think that honestly, he really should just get his shit together and like become a real man and, father to his son, uh, you know, because he's not that and he owes that boy, you know. And I kind of feel like we're ending on a down note here. But it's a part of life. It's a part of the things that I care about. And I know there's people out there that listen to this that they might be going through it or have some family members that are going through it. And these are things to think about. And for me, it's important that we don't love the addicts in our lives to death, right? That we have healthy boundaries, that we don't let their sickness um, and disease and disease, discomfort within themselves take over our life. And like I said, it's one thing, right? You can't let certain shit, 'cause at the end of the day, right? They go and they die. Did you do everything that you could to help them? You know, and obviously, look, I mean, God's going to give you so many chances before He calls you home when it comes to that shit. You know, and there's such an ability to help so many people just by not using such a bit, so many ways to, like really feel a genuine sense of purpose and direction, uh, and just like self-respect and worth just by not picking up. It sets such a strong example. And then you throw in some shit like you start working out, eating better, right? Like finding women or men, if you're a woman or a man, whatever your preference is, finding a somebody to be with that you love, that you really take the time to say, this is what I want. Does this person exhibit these qualities? Or am I learning to grow with them? Am I able to practice interdependence in my relationship and not a codependence, right? And like really find ways to help this person. But like at a certain point with an addict, right, they got to go get help. They got to do what it takes to not put anything in them. And for most people, it's not going to be just a cold turkey, lock them in a room, right? They're going to have to go to treatment. It is what it is. Got to go to treatment. You can't let any shit get in the way, right? You can't be like, oh, my job. I mean, shit. My old counselor runs a residential recovery center where he had a woman who her excuse for not coming to treatment was she had nobody that could watch her cat. My counselor said, bring your fucking cat. And so he took this lady in and her cat because the cat was the only reason why she wasn't going to go get help. He said, I don't, you got to clean her litter box and, feed her, but, bring her. Okay. You can pet her in group. Get the fuck in there. And like, to me, that's like the above and beyond shit. That's who inspires me to do what I do. That guy, he was my counselor in fucking rehab. I've talked to him this whole time. I've been in this process of trying to figure out how to open a fucking residential recovery house of my own goddamn self. And he's had faith in me. He's believed in me. He's been somebody that's inspired me to keep going and push through the process because he believes that I have real value to others. And I know that I do. But there is an element of self-doubt and time, many times where I've told myself that, oh, I'm not abstinent completely. I can't help anybody in the industry for real, for real. Like, fuck that then. Fuck that industry. I'll break down the motherfucking door and make my new industry. I mean, let's be real. Let's fucking be realistic. If you can live in a halfway house and be on methadone and be on Suboxone, why could you not get a medical card and ingest cannabis while living in this said house? Is that something that can be done? Because there's real data that shows overdoses go down in places with medical patients having an ability to have access to medication, And I think we can all agree, any of my friends and fam that have been through it, long-term Suboxone maintenance and methadone maintenance are not real solutions. Maybe, I mean, you could say, in my opinion, right? I'm speaking just based on my experience, which is valid. My experiences are valid, and I'm also throwing some opinion in there, right? I've never really been a fan of methadone. Now, I do know some people that have been absolutely hopeless. They don't think they can stop. They get on methadone, and at least they improve the quality of their life. They're not living complete junkie lifestyle. Now, which is great. That's what you're aiming for these days, And it's like I hate to like move the goalpost to like you know, but I'm not completely abstinent. So that's really not my ultimate goal for people. If that is what their ultimate goal is, my ultimate goal is support them in their recovery, whatever their recovery process looks like, which is different for fucking everybody. You can take an outline or a blueprint, but you got to put your own sauce into it. You got to season that sauce. You got to figure out what works for you, you know, and you got to fucking have the tools to be able to withstand whatever mistakes you make. Because at the end of the day, as long as you're willing to fucking take responsibility for those mistakes, then you can fucking do whatever you want, right? Like I haven't put a needle in my body coming up on 2025. I got clean 2011 on 14 years. 14 fucking years. And I still think about it. I still know the needle. I still ain't forgot how to do it. The shit, it's like riding a bike. Bet if I picked up a needle, I fucking know how to cook the shit up and put it. I could even find the vein with no tie off. And I've been working out, so I'm more vascular now than I was at the end of my using. Obviously that's not where I'm at, and that's not what I'm doing. But the reality is, somebody on methadone or Suboxone, I think is great for the short term. Detox off the shit, man. Use the Suboxone. Step down quickly. It's not a necessity for long term treatment. And I know just based on my experience, right? Yes, there is a real fear to let that shit go, right? Because, yeah, I mean, especially if you're making some progress, you're seeing quality of life improvement. And you have this fear of like, if I don't have this little backup, then I'm gonna go fucking pick up a needle tomorrow. I'll be right back at it. And I think I mean, I don't think, I don't think it's a healthy fear, at least not to that extent. And my ego is not so big to believe that like it couldn't be me tomorrow. What if I got hurt? Got hooked on some painkillers? I'm, I don't want to say I'm afraid of that, but I would say that I'd rather not have to find out how strong my recovery process really is by having to go through that again. You know, I like to believe that I could withstand anything, and honestly, whatever comes my way is what it is, and I will have to do what it is. But I can't be somebody that's nodding out on the fucking toilet or overdosing on the toilet. My kids find me, not me. Can't do it. And so we think about quality of life improvement. I mean, when you're smoking weed, it feels like the quality of your life is improved drastically. I mean, damn, people could get dabs and make that little switch from the cooker of the, needle and dope to some dabs and torching the fucking rig. Hey, eat some edibles, get a nice knot on the couch. Yeah, is it the best? Maybe not, right? Are they substituting one for another? Yeah, I guess so. Sure, you could say that. But are they not doing that with the methadone? These are logical questions that to me have not been answered, right? And the only people I know in the industry are people that are completely abstinent. So how does that work? All that and more on the next episode of Let's Fucking Talk About It. Check out our sponsor again, Magic Mind. I'm gonna throw there's gonna be a in the middle ad reel for the Magic Mind. I'm not sure where yet, but I'm gonna throw it in there. Maybe not in this episode will it be the cleanest, just roll right into it, but I'm gonna throw it in. I'm gonna do one uh, on my Magic Mind shit all week. Gonna be taking it every day this week. Get after it. Um, you know, it's good shit. Also, supplements if you want to support yourself and this podcast, go fucking firstform.com/LADaces or get the link for me or go to lordbongtimore.com. There's links there. You can go get yourself some protein. I don't care whether you're working out or not, you're probably not hitting the fucking required amount of protein, right? It will help these hormonal imbalances that you have from your lack of testosterone and protein, right? Not having enough hitting a protein goal daily will help any hormonal imbalances, male or female. Helps you retain lean muscle. That means your body's not going to be using it to store as fat. It will naturally, just changing your diet to have more protein will be a giant leap in just watching the pounds shed away, right? Have get some foundational supplements too, some omega-3s, right? With high DHAs and EPAs. Some joint mobility is one of my favorites. Use it all the time. Jiu-Jitsu. I usually actually take a double dose. Don't need to take Advil when I do. Plus, I like to have a little pre-workout or an energy drink because the caffeine isn't the stimulant effect of the caffeine is actually enhanced by the joint mobility. Little tool of the trade, little trick of the trade. Um, First form, gut health. Get you some Opti Greens 50. Get it. I would recommend that you get the reds too, greens and reds, mix them together. If you only get the greens, I would recommend, I like personally to mix it into orange juice. It's got kind of a berry flavor. They have a chocolate greens flavor now. I don't know how that tastes. I haven't had it. To me, that's like not quite my vibe. So, but the berry ones are great. Literally feel phenomenal. I don't want to say just like eat whatever you want, take this and you'll feel great, but you do. It is. And if you don't like it, if you don't like the product, you can get 110% money back. Your money back plus 10% every time. They don't care if you've used some of it, tried it out, didn't like it, cool, send it back, get your money back, full refund plus 10%. Great, no problem. You know. 1P has the best customer service hands down. What else can you? Oh, you can support Patreon. Let's talk about it. Get on there. Been kind of lacking lately. Sorry. But we're gonna be hitting it hard this month. I got a lot going on. I'm gonna be doing some work with Colton, most likely, if they can keep their heads out of their asses, right? We're in talks. We're in talks. Everybody knows Colta, that's my squad. And they have a good friend of mine, a couple good friends of mine in high places. And they may be finally at the point where we can actually fucking try to get some culture in the fucking community. Okay? We can get some culture in the fucking community. This goddamn marketplace. All right, you got fucking straight to the joint, right? They wanted to fucking have a nice little play on words, like let's talk about it, right? We all know these people try to steal the sauce, but they don't got my seasonings, right? Straight to the joint. It's like everything they smoke from the market is fucking the tits. It's pay for play, right? Just like the labs. Um, and to me, I'll go ahead and say it. Trav's Dabs is corny as hell, in my opinion. You know, Ugh. But hey, plenty of people think I'm corny, and I am. So I don't, what the fuck do I care? Right? And he shouldn't fucking care about me. He's got his own little life and his own little people. I do like that he's out climbing. I feel like him and I should go climbing. If you know Trav Dabs and you're listening to this podcast, tell him that I want to go climbing. But I'm never going to reach out to him to go climbing unless somebody that's listening to this tells him that I want to go climbing with him and he reaches out and says, "Hey, I'm Trav Dabs." We've talked before, but I thought he was corny, and so he stopped following me, I think, uh, a long time ago. Maybe he still follows me. I doubt it highly. Um, there's a lot of people from that era that can't fucking stand me. And honestly, I can't stand most of them either, but there's a lot of people that listen to this podcast that are fucking rad as hell, that love knowing what's going on in the weed world. And I'm gonna be a big part of telling that cult portion, as I have been in the past. Okay? Those are the homies. I don't give a fuck if you don't like Mackie. Go listen to episode number 5 and get mad because he says niggers. Good, but then pay attention to the context. Okay? It's important. That's I. If you don't know Mackie, in episode number 5, let's talk about it. He fucking came through. I woke up late. Fucking at the time they were already there. I showed up. We had to get ready. Fucking smoked. He still gave me a good, great podcast episode. So kind, and there was many other things that we have uh we've discussed, and he's done to point me in the right direction, help me get some inside information, and has helped me generate some income through some other companies in the Maryland market that he has recommended me to, and they have utilized my services, which it's invaluable, man. I've had podcast guests that have been the result because he fucking recommended me to somebody, and they ended up doing an episode. And I've done some episodes with people that were recommended me from the recommendations that Mackie gave me. So I got mad love for the Cult of Fam, and honestly, so many people acted like faggots when they wrote an open letter. Uh, denouncing racism and white supremacy in cannabis because he said the word nigger, in talking about a giant billboard in the Oregon town that he, the grow he was working on had. I mean, it was a small Oregon town. If you've been to Oregon and go to some of these little small towns, like, yeah, there are billboards at the beginning of the town, the entrance to the town. There'd be a giant swastika painted on it. It'll say, "No niggers, no Jews." Mackey was expressing that. People told him they needed to boycott Colta. He needed to denounce racism and white supremacy, probably get a DEI fucking employee, like whole DEI officer position implemented into the Colta company and corporation. And he just wouldn't do that, right? Like they tried to be like, Mackey is the guy. It's communist tactic, honestly. That you personify a person, the problem, right? If the problem is there is no home grow, it doesn't matter that it's like this one group that, yes, Mackie is a part of that's lobbying against home grow. It's that you don't like Colta, you don't like Mackie. So Mackie is the reason why there is no home grow. And if you just shout it loudly enough, then more people like jump in the bandwagon. And it doesn't matter how many people like myself use logic and reason and try to fucking get them to calm their jets. They fucking get rabble, 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 rabble. I think about that fucking can of crabber, and that guy like really just sucking the teat off Luke, sucking the fucking dick off Luke from normal. And like, yeah, back in the reason you have home grow. Look at my weed. It's better than Colta. And meanwhile, it's like some Dundalk fucking mid using some goddamn Baltimore Harbor water to feed it, talking about some local microbes. Yeah, motherfucker, local microbes? Come on, man. Oh my God. Smoking that weed. Mad bugs in it. People snitched about your weed and how there was the bugs in it. Okay, I'm hating on everybody. Okay, fuck them. Cannon Crabber, I did feel really bad for him. Some time ago, I found out that I think his son died, maybe of an overdose or a car crash, and I did feel really bad because I met his son before, and no parent should have to fucking bury their kid, dude. So I do feel bad for him. Not in the bugweed. All right, with that, fucking support the show, support your motherfucking self. Love yourself, love God, love your goddamn neighbor, and get after it, man. Show your appreciation for this beautiful life that you have been given by going out and doing something hard. You know, fucking strengthening your body, your mind, your spirit, and getting the fuck after it. With that, Bongtimore.